Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're embarking on an epic journey into one of history's most defining conflicts, the Napoleonic Wars. This is part 1, where we'll explore the meteoric rise of the man who gave the era its name, Napoleon Bonaparte. Picture this, it's December 2nd, 1804. The Grand Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is filled with the most powerful figures in France. In a moment of breathtaking audacity, a man takes the imperial crown and places it on his own head. That man was Napoleon, and in that single act, he declared himself Emperor of the French. It was the climax of an astonishing ascent. Just 6 years earlier, he was a relatively unknown artillery captain. Now, he was the absolute master of France. How did this happen? To understand Napoleon's rise, we first need to rewind a bit, to the chaotic, bloody, yet transformative years of the French Revolution. The Revolution didn't just topple a king, it shattered the old social order. Before, high military rank was reserved for the aristocracy, and none were more ambitious or talented than Napoleon. He was fueled by a potent mix of skill, relentless drive, and an almost mystical belief in his own destiny. For nearly 2 decades, war became a constant hum in the background of European life. The new French Republic was seen as a threat by the old monarchies, leading to almost continuous conflict. From the very beginning of his career, Napoleon found himself locked in a struggle against these foreign powers, and one nation, above all others, would become his most persistent, most formidable adversary: Great Britain. This long, grueling rivalry would shape his entire career and set the stage for the grand conflicts to come. From his perspective, this wasn't just about conquering new lands. It was a strategic masterstroke aimed at crippling his great rival, Britain. To make matters worse, news reached him that his enemies back in Europe, emboldened by his predicament, were forming a new coalition against France. The government was weak and ineffective, and the people longed for a strong leader to bring order and stability. Napoleon, with his military fame and decisive personality, was the perfect candidate. Through a political coup, he seized power, eventually crowning himself emperor. However, the monarchies of Europe were not about to accept this upstart Corsican as their equal. The formation of the Third Coalition was almost inevitable. Led by the great powers of Austria, Russia, and of course the ever-present financial and naval might of Great Britain, the coalition had one primary goal: to extinguish the threat of revolutionary France and restore the old balance of power. They saw Napoleon not just as a conqueror, but as the embodiment of a dangerous new ideology that threatened their very existence. The diplomatic maneuvering was intense. A key turning point came when Prussia, which had initially tried to remain a neutral mediator, began leaning heavily towards joining the coalition. With the potential addition of the formidable Prussian army, the stage was set for a monumental clash of titans. As the storm clouds of war gathered over Europe in 1805, Napoleon wasn't just waiting for the fight. He was revolutionizing the very nature of warfare. The French army, which he had meticulously reorganized, was now known as the Grande Armée, the Grand Army. And it was unlike any military force the world had ever seen. Its genius lay in its structure. Napoleon broke the army down into smaller, self-contained units called corps. Each corps was essentially a mini-army, complete with its own infantry, cavalry, and artillery. This innovative system gave the Grande Armée incredible flexibility and speed. A corps could march independently, forage for its own supplies, and engage an enemy force on its own if necessary. When the time came for a major battle, Napoleon could rapidly concentrate these corps, bringing overwhelming force to bear at the decisive point. It allowed him to outmaneuver and outfight armies that were often numerically superior. In stark contrast, the Allied forces of the Third Coalition were plagued by logistical nightmares and strategic disarray. Their armies were cumbersome, slow-moving, and tied to long, vulnerable supply lines. While the Allies were fumbling with their schedules and struggling to communicate, Napoleon's highly motivated, cohesive, and brilliantly organized army was marching with purpose and precision. The Grande Armée was a finely tuned instrument of war, and its conductor, Napoleon, was about to lead it in a symphony of destruction. The first great test of this new military machine would come in a campaign that would culminate in what many consider Napoleon's single greatest victory, a battle that would forever be etched in the annals of military history. But that is a story for our next episode. Thank you so much for joining us for the first part of our series on the Napoleonic Wars. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss part 2, where the cannons will truly begin to roar. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.